Look at your skin right now. Whatever shade it is, it's a story. A story written by sunlight, survival, and thousands of years of evolution. Because here's something most people never think about. Every single human being alive today can trace their ancestry back to one place, Africa. And every single one of our earliest ancestors had dark skin. Not just dark, deeply, richly pigmented skin, evolved over millions of years to survive one of the most powerful forces on this planet, the sun. Near the equator, sunlight isn't gentle. The ultraviolet rays are intense, relentless, and dangerous. UV radiation doesn't just cause sunburn, it breaks down something essential inside the human body, a nutrient called folate. Folate is critical for healthy pregnancies. Without enough of it, babies can develop severe birth defects, like spina bifida, a condition that damages the developing spine. So, evolution needed a solution. And it found one: melanin. The pigment that gives skin its dark color acts like a natural, built-in sunscreen. It absorbs and blocks UV rays before they can damage the folate inside the body. For hundreds of thousands of years, in the intense sunlight of equatorial Africa, dark skin wasn't just common, it was essential for survival. But then, humans did something no other species had done quite like this before. They left. Somewhere between 60 and 100,000 years ago, small groups of humans began migrating out of Africa. Slowly, generation by generation, spreading across Asia, across Europe, into lands their bodies had never evolved for. And the further north they went, the weaker the sunlight became. In places like Scandinavia or the British Isles, the sun sits low in the sky. UV rays are far less intense, especially through long gray winters. This created an entirely new problem. Because while intense sunlight destroys folate, weak sunlight causes a different kind of damage. Human skin needs UV rays for something essential, producing vitamin D. And dark skin, so perfectly designed to block UV in Africa, became a disadvantage in the north. It blocked too much sunlight, leaving people unable to produce enough vitamin D naturally. Without enough vitamin D, bones fail to grow properly. Children develop a condition called rickets, soft, weak, bent bones, fragile enough to fracture under normal pressure. So, evolution had a new challenge to solve. In these low-light environments, humans with naturally lighter skin that let more UV rays through, had a survival advantage. They could produce enough vitamin D, even in weak winter sunlight. Over thousands of years, tiny genetic mutations spread through northern populations. Changes in specific genes, like SLC24A5 and SLC45ATWO, gradually reduced melanin production. Generation after generation, the humans best suited to survive in low sunlight passed on lighter skin to their children. It wasn't a decision, it wasn't sudden, it was natural selection, slowly reshaping human appearance to match the environment. But here's where the story gets surprising. For a long time, scientists assumed early Europeans were pale-skinned almost as soon as they settled in northern regions. Ancient DNA proved otherwise. One of the most famous discoveries came from a skeleton in Britain known as Cheddar Man, a hunter-gatherer who lived roughly 10,000 years ago. When scientists extracted his DNA, they found something remarkable. Cheddar Man had dark skin. For thousands of years, hunter-gatherers across Europe carried dark or olive-toned skin, even while living in cold, low-sunlight environments. Lighter skin hadn't fully spread yet. So, what changed? Farming. Around 7,000 to 8,000 years ago, agriculture spread rapidly across Europe, and with it, human diets changed dramatically. Hunter-gatherers ate diverse diets rich in fish, meat, and wild foods, often naturally high in vitamin D. But early farming diets relied heavily on grains. Less fish, less varied nutrition, less natural vitamin D. This shift made the pressure to evolve lighter skin even stronger. With less vitamin D coming from food, human bodies needed to absorb more from sunlight instead. And that accelerated the spread of lighter skin across European populations. Genetics and diet working together over thousands of years. But there's one place on Earth that breaks this pattern entirely: the Arctic. Indigenous populations in places like northern Canada, Siberia, and Alaska live in some of the darkest, coldest environments on the planet. Sunlight is scarce for much of the year. By the same logic, we'd expect these populations to have evolved very light skin. But many Inuit and other Arctic peoples have retained darker skin tones, despite living in extremely low sunlight. Why? Their traditional diet. For thousands of years, Arctic communities relied heavily on the ocean, fatty fish, seal blubber, and other marine foods incredibly rich in vitamin D. Their food supplied what sunlight couldn't. Because their bodies were already getting enough vitamin D from what they ate, there was no strong evolutionary pressure to lighten their skin. Nature didn't need to change what already worked. It's one of the clearest examples of how human evolution isn't random. It responds precisely to environment, diet, and survival pressure. Never more, never less than necessary. So, when you step back and look at the full picture, skin color was never about superiority, never about intelligence, never about worth. It was about geography, sunlight, nutrition, and thousands of years of the human body adapting to wherever it happened to live. Genetically, humans across every skin tone are almost entirely identical. The differences we see on the surface come down to a handful of genes, shaped by an incredibly small slice of our evolutionary history, a few thousand years compared to hundreds of thousands of years of shared human ancestry. So the next time you see someone with a different skin tone than yours, remember what that difference actually represents. Not distance, not division, just evolution. Quietly solving the same problem in different corners of the world, using the same ancient tools: sunlight, skin, and survival.